is the Most High God. So this is someone that is going forth and fulfilling God's will. And God's will in this text is El Elyon. And El Elyon, we know that means what? The Most High God. As an explanation of this, Exodus 21, 5 through 6, this passage highlights the concept of a willing servant and a willing servitude. A willing servant and a willing servitude. A servant who desires to remain with his master out of love and loyalty symbolize the heart of a true servant. That means you have not allowed the enemy to overtake you, but now you have allowed to God, which is Elyon, to direct you. Many times we will find that many people will call themselves servants. And they would say that, how many right now would say that they servants? I will. And look at this, if you don't mind even writing this down, when you know that you're a servant, you're not distracted by the enemy. When you know that you are a servant of God, you are not distracted by the enemy. You understand your loyalty to God. You understand your promise to God. You even understand, and this is something that you have made a vow to the Lord. You made a vow. And in Ecclesiastes 5, it said, when a man makes a vow and he don't fulfill it, it's a curse unto him. It's a curse unto him when he don't fulfill that vow. That means if you saying you a Christian, look at this. You're supposed to do Christian what? Works. And Christian works are considered what? Servitude. And if a person is a Christian and not fulfilling them works, nor the assignment of a Christ-based sinner, guess what he has done? He has found himself up under a curse. And we wonder why a lot of times, why people are always being miserable as hell with their life. Have we asked the question why people don't know which way to turn with their life? Have we even asked the question, it's not always the enemy. Many times it's God getting their what? Attention. It's God getting their attention. Many things that go on in our life is not always the devil. But it's God getting our attention because once we have put our name to Christianity, guess what? We got to now do what? Fulfill the responsibilities. And is it hard or is it easy? Huh? Is it hard or is it easy? Huh? It would always be hard. Because guess what? Flesh desires the things of the what? Flesh. In the world. So it's going to be hard in the flesh. But once you enter into the Spirit of God, guess what is easy? It's easy because guess what? Whatever the Lord has decided you to do, it will be what? Easy. It's easy for me to get up here and preach because I love it. You know, I'm a servant. It's easy. It's not hard. It's not people say, well, it's hard. That may not be your lane then. But whatever your lane is, hey, if you like singing, it's going to be easy to sing because that's your lane. If you like praying, it's going to be easy to pray because guess what? That's your lane. If you like counseling, that's going to be easy to do because guess what? That's your lane. And that's your lane within what? Servanthood. That's your lane. Everybody is not designed to do certain things. But everybody do have a desire to do something in the kingdom, which is considered servant. Now look at this. The passage highlights the concept of willing servanthood. A servant who desires to remain with his master out of love and loyalty symbolizes the heart of a true servant. One who serves not out of obligation, but out of the deep sense of calling and devotion. Servanthood leadership. Leading by serving. Look at that. Leading by what? Serving. Servant leadership is a leadership philosophy where the leader serves the people they lead rather than seeking to be served. Where the leader serves the people rather than seeking to be what? Served. Meaning whatever God's gift and God's assignment for your life, guess what you're doing? You're doing it out of leadership, not to be served, but to do what? Serve. Because guess what? Once God gets the glory, guess what God going to do? God going to serve you, and he going to have people to do what? Serve you. Once God get the glory. Hey, that's why have you ever noticed in your life when you're doing the right thing with God and things start happening just like that? And you're saying, wow, how did that happen? How did I get that? You know, I was mad at this young lady because she didn't pay me, and then next thing you know, God sent a check. Wow. And I don't even know. Well, I'm not saying that because we don't like it. Yes. Look at this. It is a radical shift from worldly concepts of leadership, where power and authority are often associated with position. When you take on that servanthood, now you have power and authority. Never allow power and authority to step into your what? Your head. Because guess what? You are doing this unto who? The Lord. It ain't got nothing to do with who? You. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Some people, I'm laying hands in Jesus' name. No, you ain't laying hands. What you're doing, you're asking God to show you how to lay hands. You're asking God to show you who to touch. And even you're asking God, because laying hands within the word and from a Hebrew perspective is speaking into people's lives. It's not just putting your hands on people. But within that, look at this. You're asking God who to do it to. Because guess what? You want to make sure that you have permission by who? God. And as a servant, this is something that we always must do. Hey, God, do you want me to do that? Before you take on the task or the assignment to do whatever God is calling you to do, hey, God, do you want me to do that? Look at this. The Hebrew word for leader is nasa. Nasa is N-A-S-I. Nasa, N-A-S-I. The word nasa means prince or leader. It means prince or what? Leader. We will even find that the devil was even a partake of what? Nasa. Why was the devil a partake of Nasa? Because the devil is the prince of the what? Of the air. So therefore, look at this. He takes on that word of what? Nasa. But the good part about it, the king is over what? Everything. And that's the Nasiah. The Nasiah. That means he's over what? Everything. And by him being over everything, and that's just like us, we are, guess what? Princes. We are also a part of Nasa, but guess what? We serve Nasiah, which is considered the king of who? Kings. The king of kings. Huh? And going back to that word, and you can use that terminology right there, El Shaddai. We can use that terminology. And so therefore, looking at this right here, when we see that Nasa word, someone is positioned in some type of authority. But biblically, their role is to serve and protect the people under their care. Meaning everyone that is a partake of Christianity, you got people depending on you. You got people depending on you. You got to watch what you do. Because you got people, and even the young people, you got to watch what you do. Some of the other young people are watching you. You may say, no, they don't need to watch me, they need to watch God. But guess what? Once you say that you are a Christian and you have taken on that godly concept, people are watching you. Do we act crazy sometimes? Yes. But should we continue in it? No, because the Bible says, shall we what? Continue in sin that grace may be abound. God what, Sister Jessica? Forbid. So that means we can't continue in what? Error when we say that we are what? Christians and are serving unto the who? King. You can't. You can't. Once you've taken on that role, you consider an earring upon you, on your ear, to say, now I am a part of what? The king. I'm a part of the king. Even going within history, we'll find that in Exodus, this was considered a slave mentality. For a person to go forth and say, I want to stay with my master. Israel was lost for a minute. And then the reason why Israel was lost for a minute is because Israel didn't understand the works of who? Adonai. Meaning Israel did not understand the works of God. And by them not being able to understand the works of God, guess what? They found themselves just doing whatever. To the point they felt slavery was acceptable. And many of us, guess what we feel? We feel people talking to us any type of way is what? Acceptable. We feel people doing us any type of way is what? Acceptable. We feel that we can just be thrown away and everything else, and we call it what? Acceptable. Do you feel it's good for people to cuss you out? How many like people cussing them out? Be real. Huh? Anybody? How many like people fussing at them? Anybody? How many like people downgrading them? This is what Israel was going through. This is what Israel was going through. But Adonai was showing them a new way. And this is something, as you grow in God, God would always show you what? A new way. And by God showing you a new way, write this down. He would design you the pathway. And this is where now, because of Israel, hey, they said, and no longer we're going to allow this Pharaoh to take over us, but now we're going on the pathway to get to promise. We're going on a pathway to get to what? Promise. Hey, I may follow this master, but guess what? I'm on a pathway to get to what? Promise. In getting to promise, guess what? Now they have to have an obedient spirit. Meaning to hear from who? The leader. The leader, Nasa. Nasa. They had to hear from Moses, and Moses had to hear from who? Nasiah. Which considered who? The Most High God, which is El Elyon. He had to hear. He had to hear because guess what? Hey, you're going to listen to some man that you know you're going to get killed. You're going to listen to a man that tell you keep on walking, even though you know you're about to get killed. But they had to listen and trust Moses to get to that point. And guess what happened? They found themselves, instead of being killed, now their faith was being built. And this is the way that God people. Instead of us being killed by the enemy, we're being built by God. And this is where God wants all of us to be, built by him. That's why you got to be careful. You got to be careful putting the mind of hell, putting the mind of hatred, putting the mind of stress, putting the mind of anger, putting the mind of confusion, putting the mind of sickness. You got to be careful of that. Because guess what would happen? This is how the devil will target your mind to do what? Destroy you. And the Bible even declares this. We are destroyed by the what? Lack of what? Knowledge. Israel didn't have knowledge of God. As a servant, you got to have, write this down, you got to have the knowledge of God. When you're on the pathway with God, you got to have knowledge of God. Because the devil comes to sift us as what? Wheat. He comes to sift us. That's why depression step in. That's why confusion step in. That's why hatred step in. That's why jealousy step in. Because the devil comes to sift us as what? Wheat. Even while you are serving, you start getting that what? Anger feeling. Huh? Ain't nobody listening to me. They don't like me. You ain't worried about that when you're following what? Nasiah, which is the what? King of Kings. You're not looking at that. Let's go a little farther. Mark. Mark the 10th chapter, the 42nd and the 45th verse. Jesus said, Mark the 10th chapter, the 42nd to the 45th verse. Jesus said, you know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Look at that. Not so with what? With you. Huh? Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your what? Servant. Hey, that means guess what? Hey, the president ain't ruling over who? Huh? Y'all don't hear that? Huh? Depression is not doing what? Ruling over who? Me. Anger is not ruling over who? Me. Poverty is not ruling over what? Me. But guess what? Who is ruling over me? Hey, is the Lord, because I am a servant unto who? The Lord. Let's continue. And whoever wants to be first must be the slave of all. Look at that. Whoever wants to be what? First must be the what? Slave of all. What is a slave? A slave is the one that follows his what? Master. A slave is one not talking, and let me show this. Even within this, you go to the Old Testament to look at that, which is considered the Old Covenant. But the Old Covenant was considered a partake of Israel not knowing direction. But now the New Covenant is teaching Israel what? Direction. Meaning not to follow what? The old slave, but now to follow who? The master. Who is the master? El Elyon. Who is the master? The Most High God. Because there's many what? Gods. But do we understand the Most High God? Did you know that there's a depression God? There's a sadness God. There's a sick God. There's a lonely God. There's all different types of gods. Esther, if we even know Easter is getting ready to go forth, Esther was considered the goddess of fertility. But also she was the goddess, guess what she was? She was the goddess of porn. Look at that. We got to be very mindful and careful of some of these things, of allowing these things to take over us. That's why you don't operate in sadness. When you get sad, guess what you got to learn? I'm learning this. You got to start finding a way to pump yourself up. You can't operate in depression. You got to get around, and if you can't get pumped up, you got to get around people to do what? Pump you up. That's why people say we don't need no music. All we need is the Holy Ghost. Yes, you need the Holy Ghost, but guess what? You need some music too, because that'll help you. Because when you start feeling, turn that music on. There it is. And we even got to have it in our head. Look at this. The Hebrew word, and this is right here. As we become servants, we become humble to understand what God is doing. And as God is showing us what to do, now this is word right here. The Hebrew word for humble is anav. A-N-A-V, anav. Anav means humble, lowly, and meek. Because the Bible tells us the meek shall do what? Inherit the earth. Lowly and meek, anav. This is what God wants to take all of his people to that point of what? Anav. Meaning people not getting over you, but guess what? God is working through you. Huh? Sometimes we say, oh, people just getting over them. No. God working through you to do what you're doing. Because you probably can't even believe you're doing that yourself. I can't believe I'm helping them people that I know they don't like me. I can't believe I'm loving them people I know they can't stand me. I can't believe I'm shaking that man's hand and I know he's ready to kill me. Huh? That's God. Because you are his what? Servant. You are his servant. And when you are his servant, you're going to do some things that you can't believe you were doing, because now you are now dealing with the what? Anav. You're dealing with the anav. How can I go low? Huh? When they up all the way up there, huh? They got to reach back down to what? Your level. You ain't got to go up to their level. They got to reach to your level. Huh? When you are in God. Hey, when you are in God. Look at this. It says, humility is a foundation of the characteristic for those who serve. See, when you serve, you become what? Humble. Huh? Especially if you serving who? Christ. Now, you got to be careful of a Jezebel spirit. A Jezebel spirit was seeking to do this because it was her. Huh? And she even manipulated her husband, Ahab, because it was her. And her eventually fell down on what? On the ground, on her head. Because it was about who? Her. And you got to be careful when it's about who? You and not who? God. You got to be careful. Things mess up because it's who? You instead of who? God. Have we ever seen that? Man, I just want this. And as soon as you get it, it ain't worth nothing. I want that man, and now he can't do nothing for you. I want that woman, and now she can't do nothing for you. I want that job, and now you pissed off that you even going to that job. Because guess what happened? You did it instead of allowing who? God to do it. You did it. And what hinders many of us, guess what happened? We do it instead of saying, God, you lead me and guide me. Out of what? A servant. Out of a what? A servant. Out of a what? A servant. Out of a what? A servant. A servant. Let's go to Philippians 2, 5 and 8. Philippians 2, 5 and 8. It says, in your relationship with one another, have the same mindset as Jesus Christ. In your relationship with what? one another, have the same mindset as Jesus Christ, who being in very nature of God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a what? Servant. He looked at himself as a what? Servant. He could have easily been what? Huh? He could have easily been served. Man, this man able to heal the sick, just like that. He could have been what? How many probably would use their power to go make some money? Be real. Think about that. Huh? I don't know. I apologize. I'm just being real. I don't know. You know? He spoke one word and it happened. Told Peter, go into the sea and get that fish. And when you get the fish, take the money out of it and go pay the taxes. Huh? I mean, he had, 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread and fed what? Huh? How many people? Oh, it was only 5,000 men, but guess what? You had children and what? Women. Huh? That's something to think about. So he could have easily did what? Manipulated. And being a servant, we could easily do what? Manipulate people. But when we are considered chosen, write that word down. Chosen. We don't manipulate people. We worship God. Huh? We don't manipulate people. Well, you got to pay me to get some information from me. Get away. That's a witch. Huh? Even some of these churches now have these lines. Hey, and you got to pay that. That's a witch. That is witchcraft. And many of us fall into that because guess what? It's a form of what? Manipulation. It's a scheme. We got to be careful of that. We got to be careful of that. Look at this. And once you fall into the worship is considered avad. That is A-B-A-D, avad. The Hebrew word worship is avad. Avad has also been translated to serve, but it can also mean to worship. And what do worship mean? Worship don't just mean going forth and giving God, what we say, just singing. Worship is to fear God and reverence God for who he is. And to receive the glory from what he is. That's worship. Worship is when you start feeling certain ways, and guess what? You just start, hey, God, I receive you. Hey, anybody ever done that before? You be thinking something and you ready to cry, you ready to feel kind of bad. Hey, God, I receive you. Huh? That's worship. Because guess what? In the time of your despair, God is doing what? Trying to tell you something. God is trying to tell you something. I'm learning that, y'all. I'm learning that. I used to, how am I feeling like this? Well, I'm feeling kind of this way and that way. Hey, God is speaking to you. God is speaking to you. Hey, but the only way he can get to you is he got to get you what? In that lowly position. He got to get you in that lowly position. Because see, when you buck with pride, guess what? You ain't listening. You ain't listening when you got everything going on. You ain't listening when everybody around you. You ain't listening when you got this and got that. But guess what? He got to get your attention so he gets you in that little what? Vulnerable place. And that vulnerable place is where you can, hey, God, hey, I receive you. My wife even say I'm crazy. But hey, that's God talking to me. And God talks to those he what? He loves. And not just that, he chastises what? Those he loves. Let's look at this for a minute. Avad shows us the direction of where we need to go while we're trusting God. Look at this. Israel in Exodus. Exodus, anybody know what Exodus means? Exodus means departure. Israel now is in departure, and they're leaving out of what? Anybody, what they're leaving out of? Bondage. Israel is departing from what? Bondage. Israel is departing from what? Bondage. That's when you have a made-up mind. As a servant, God will give you a what? Made up what? Seriously. Hey, when you're departing out of bondage, you now have a what? Made up mind. That means you getting ready to do what? Even though you go little, woo, and I'm bumped, I'm the chill, I got chill bumps in my, woo, right now. But guess what? You may cry and have chills, but you got a made up mind to do what God told you to what? Do. That means get away from it. Get away from it. Get away from it. A made up mind to get away from it. How many, now I want to ask a question. Is it easy to get away from it when you're accustomed to it? Because what did Israel say? Man, Moses, you should have kept us where we were at with Pharaoh. Because guess what? Write this down. It's uncomfortable. Being a servant is uncomfortable sometimes. Being a servant is uncomfortable. Why is it uncomfortable? Because now you're getting into that avid place, which is called worship. Worship, to fear God is uncomfortable, especially when you're fearing the Most High God. And who is the Most High God? We just said it. El Young. To fear, it's uncomfortable because why? You ain't going to understand. You are not going to understand. Hey, God, I'm not understanding. Why are you making me leave that person? I'm not understanding. Why are you making me to leave that where I'm going? I don't understand. Why are you having me to go this way? I don't understand. Why are you having me to do what you have me to do? I don't understand. Doing some things as a servant, you will never be able to do what? You'll never be able to understand. You'll never be able to understand. Look at this. John 14, 13 and 14. John 14, 13 and 14. Look at this word. And he said, and I will do whatever you ask in my what? Name. Hey. And I will do whatever you ask in my what? Name. So that the Father may be what? Glorified in the Son. Because guess what? In order to get to the Father, you got to go through who? You got to go through the Son. People say, hey, I ain't got to go through the Son. I can just go. No, you can't because you ain't holy enough. You're not holy enough. So you have to go through the Son. And in going through the Son, look at this. It's in whose name? The Son's name. Who is the Son? Who is the Son? We say Jesus. But in Hebrew, it's what? Yeshua. Yeshua. Within the custom of England, it's considered Jehovah. And he has what? Many names. He has many names. He could be called what? Christ. What do Christ mean? He could even be called Hercules. Because guess what? He has the what? Power. He has the power. He has the power. And if we want to go higher, hey, if you do call him out of English, Jesus, you're supposed to say Jesus of what? Nazareth. You're supposed to say not just Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Let's look at this right here. You may ask for something in my name, and I will what? Do it. Y'all hear that? When you're a servant, you ask something in my name, and I will what? Do y'all believe that? How many have seen that? Hey, I've seen miracles. I've seen it. You asked it in my name. I can remember when I was in that hospital bed, and hey, God, get me out of this. God, I'm going to leave, and I know I'm stupid, but I'm going to leave anyway. I'm going to leave out of this hospital butt naked, but I'm gone. I'm gone, and I don't care what nobody say. Hey, and I did it out of his name. Couldn't breathe or nothing, but guess what? I did it. Look at that. As a servant, you got to learn how to make some steps. Write that down. As a servant, you got to make some steps. And them steps not going to feel comfortable, but you got to do it. Hey, in Jesus' name, Jesus Christ of Nazareth's name. Look at this. It says, God himself serves us by answering our prayers. When we are serving, he answers our what? Prayers. And answering prayers are not going to always what? Be like we want it to be, but it is to be. And answering prayers is not going to always be like, hey, God, I want, guess what? God, I want my career. But you may have to start from the secretary. You may have to start at the bottom. You may even have to start buffing floors. But guess what? I never forget this. Before God took me to my place where I'm at, I used to have to change boo-boo diapers. I used to have to change pissy people. I used to have to change deranged people. I had to deal with them. I got busted my head a couple times. That's why when that boy busted me in my head, I was all right. I had to do all that. I had to understand the value of it. See, you never know where God is taking you. You never know. You never know. I'm going to touch him. Nasty stuff. I'm touching it. Never knew where God was taking me. But guess what? I had to start what? Somewhere. And as a servant, when we have that servant mind, we got to do what? Start what? Somewhere. Look at what it says. It says this. As you ask, this reflects a reciprocal relationship where God serves us as we serve others. Y'all hear that? God serves us as we serve who? Others. God serves who? Us as we serve what? Others. So think it not strange when you see people serving who? People. Man, you ain't got to do all that. Hey. God serves us as we serve who? Others. They're not getting over you. You're just doing what God called you to do. Others. That's how you're able to live where you live. Others. That's why you're able to drive what you drive. Others. That's why you're able to help people to love you. Others. That's why you're able to feel good on the inside. Others. That's why you ain't killed yourself. Others. That's why you're not depressed no more. Others. Because as you serve others, God serves who? He serves you. That's how he works. Look at this, the rewards of serving. God promised to bless those who serve others, whether it's this life or in eternity. That means, hey, and I'm going to share something. When you do, because whatever sow of a man reap, he going to what? Sow. So that means if you do what? To others, hey, it's going to happen back to who? You, no matter what it is. That's why you got to be careful what you do. I used to talk noise all the time to my mama and daddy, and guess what happened? My children started talking noise to me. I started talking noise to my uncle. I never forget that. He pastored, and I didn't, man, you don't know what you're talking about. No, you this and that. And guess what happened? That same old word came back to me. Because why? Everything you do, it will pinpoint back to who? You. So you got to watch what you what? Do. I'll never forget this, too. That was this lady. She was always talking about people. And then the same thing she talked about people about, guess what? It happened in her. So you got to watch what you what? Look at this. The word barak. That's B-A-R-U-C-H. The Hebrew word for barak is blessed. Barak is blessed. See, as you watch what you do as a servant, guess what God will do? God will tend to turn around things and bless you. Some of us have 5 generational curses. That's what the word says. 4 generational curses. But guess what? Them things are turned around from a barak perspective to do what? To bless you. Meaning the curse is up off of who? You. People say, no, that ain't true. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sickness is a what? Curse. And if you trace sickness down, guess what? It's a generational curse. Mental, physical, emotional, hey, financial, all of them are considered a part of what? Curses. And as a servant, we got to learn these things. And we even got to start speaking what? Blessings over us. The Bible said, for the blessings of the Lord make it one what? Rich and added no what? Sorrow. How many speak that daily over their life? And then I start saying, shake the money tree from heaven and give it to me, Lord. I'm your servant. Shake the money tree from heaven. You know, I believe Minister laughed at me. Yeah, I want it. I ain't trying to be broke no more. And then, Lord, give me wisdom on how to deal with it as your servant. Give me wisdom, Lord. Give me wisdom. Fill my cup so I can help somebody else's cup. Blessings. Barak. Never be selfish. That's why it's imperative to learn how to be a giver. It's imperative to learn how to be a giver. Because the more you give, and that's real, the more God will give back to you. Huh? And he gives good gifts to his what? His servants. He gives good gifts to his servants. Let's look at this. Matthew 25, 35 through 40. Matthew 25, 35 through 40. Matthew 25, 35 through 40. Look what it says. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it for me. You did it for who? Me. You did it for who? Me. When we learn how to just be, hey, pass on. Huh? How many learn how to pass on? How many do pass on? I know I don't want to give it because I want more in my pocket. But I learned to pass it on. I know JJ be lying sometimes. I know he lying. Huh? But hey, pass on. See, they know not to ask no more because he owed me too much. And Jairus can't ask. DeMarcus can't ask. Kelsey bet not ask. Shawan bet not ask. Just being real. No. But guess what? At the end of the day, even though I may feel that way, but guess what? I'm going to still have to do what? Because that's my children. I'm going to pass it on. And when you love people, you learn to do what? Pass it on. That means that, guess what? You ain't got to worry because guess what? Daddy going to take care of you. That's the way God works. He may be mad at you. Huh? Y'all know God get mad like we get mad? He get mad. Huh? But guess what? He still pass on. He still pass on. Look at this. It says, Jesus teaches that when we serve others, especially the marginalized, we are ultimately serving who? Him. Serving others in an act of worship, and God rewards such acts with blessings. And blessings ain't always money. Blessings to have more than enough. Huh? More than enough. I got my health back. Huh? I got my strength back. I got my life back. I got my mind back. Huh? I got my beauty back. You know, I'm starting to feel, what's that? I'm bringing what back? Sexy back. Huh? Hey, I got it back. Huh? Hey, once you get to that place in God, hey, he'll start giving it. Take it. Take it. And then you start feeling good. Hey, that's the way God works. Look at this. The impact of servant leadership in modern context. The concept of servanthood leadership has influenced both in the church and the secular organizations. And studies show the effectiveness of fostering trust, collaboration, and positive organizational culture helps us to understand who we are and the makeup of where we're going. You understand who you are and the makeup of where you're going. I mean, use that word. I hear people saying that all the time. Boss. That's my name now. Yeah, call me a boss. Thank you. You turn it around, it's a wrong word. If y'all know about the prison terminology, stupid, you know what, in that terminology. But hey, what the devil means for evil, God means for good. I'm turning that back around, boss. Because guess what happens? As you grow in him, you start seeing where he's taking you. You start seeing it. As a servant, you start seeing that. Huh? Rags to what? Real talk. Rags to what? Hey, I lost my mind, but I got my mind back. I lost my heart, but now I got my heart back. I lost my focus, but now I got my focus back. I lost my peace, but now I got my peace back. I lost my family, but now I got my family back. I lost these things, but guess what? I got it what? Back. And then guess what? This is the good part about it. Look at this. The Philistines had went forth and took from Israel, and they took the Ark of Covenant. But the only thing about when they took the Ark Covenant, guess what happened? It became a curse to them instead of a blessing to them. And when it became a curse to them, guess what happened? They found themselves, everything about them started dying and started rotting. Meaning what the enemy have took from you, guess what? It will die and rot. And then guess what they had to do? They had to give it back to Israel, the Ark Covenant, and then they had to give more than enough. They had to give interest with it. And that means the same thing. God will give you interest to things when people take it away from you. He will give you interest to things. He will give you interest. He will give you interest when you're sincere about him. When you are a servant, he will give you what? Interest. Huh? He will give you interest. He will give you more than enough when you are what? Servant unto him. Huh? The children of Israel begged God, give me manna. And he gave them more than enough what? Manna. Give me. And he gave them quail to the point they started regurgitating because they couldn't handle it. He will give you interest. When you delight yourself in him, hey, he will give you, and no demon in hell will be able to touch you. They could throw stuff, and guess what? It hit them. And they saying, man, it hit me. How did they hit me? That's because you throwed it. Huh? You throwed that. Huh? You can't touch what? When people shield and protect it, hey, you can't touch it. Look at this. Servant leadership is employee satisfaction. Study shows that servant leadership leads to a higher employee satisfaction, engagement, and retention. According to the study by Greenleaf Center for Servant Leadership, organizations with servant leaders report 40% higher employee satisfaction rates. When you have a servant mind, you get happy. I look at people. I know them people be pissing people off. I'm just being real. I know they aggravate the mess out of him. But guess what he do? He got a smile on his face. And he ain't just a worker, he a manager. And every time you see him, he got a smile on his face. The reason why he have a smile on his face because he understands that he's a servant. And by him understanding his servant, guess what he looking for? He ain't just looking for just anything. He looking because he knows he's going to get a what? A paycheck. When people aggravate you, what you do at your job? Some of us quit. And now you ain't got a what? Huh? Hey, don't let that touch you. I'm sure them employees make them mad. I'm sure people make them mad. But guess what he did? Welcome to Whataburger. Welcome to Whataburger. And I know they be aggravating them. I seen one time just, why you smiling like that? Huh. Welcome to Whataburger. Hey, that's how you get your satisfaction. Look at Israel. As God started taking in the promise, guess what happened? They put what on their face? They started walking around what? Jericho. How many times? How many times they walked around Jericho? Somebody? 7 times. What do 7 mean? Complete. Huh? And they was joyous while they were walking around what? Jericho. Because they knew if they took the wall down, now they'll be in what? Promise. Huh? This is what God want to take his people to promise. Corporate leadership, as we close out this. According to a survey conducted by Harvard Business Review, companies that embrace servant leadership tend to have 12% higher profits and 10% more positive employee feedback compared to those with traditional top-down leadership models. Application reflection. How can you embody servanthood and servant leadership in your personal life? How can you do it? When the enemy targets you, guess what you do? Thank you, Lord. Lift your head up. Lift your heads, O ye what? And the King of glory shall what? Come in. And who is the what? The Lord strong and what? The Lord mighty and what? Lift up your heads, O ye what? Gates. And be ye lifted up, and the King of what? Glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? Hey, the Lord of hosts. He is the King. So when I get mad, guess what I do? Lift up my hand. Lift up your hand. Stop putting, no. That was past tense. I'm a new man now. Once you understand that you're a servant, you're a new man. I ain't put my head down for nobody. Huh? I'm not a servant nor a slave to what? But the Lord. But the Lord. But the Lord. I asked all of us, seriously, and this is something, Start taking notes. Go give it to people. Seriously, many people need these things. Many people need word. Not just people just lying to them. Many people need word. And you use these Bible study references because everything that happened is just repeated. Everything. You had kings that were bad kings. And I'm not talking about our president. I would never put my mouth on nobody. But certain things, guess what happened back then? It's happening what? Right now. But we got to be able to do what? See it. Huh? You got people right now, don't know no direction, stuck in Gentile land. Stuck in Gentile land. Seriously. You got people that come to church stuck as a Gentile. Unsaved. And then even some of these Christians are calling themselves what? Gentiles. No, you're not. Once you are saved, you are no longer a sinner. Well, I'm a sinner. No, you ain't. That's why you keep on messing up. But once you got a covering from God, guess what? Now you are a saint. And a saint know how to go what? To who? God in prayer. The Most High. Know how to go to Jesus. And say, Jesus, I messed up. And because of his what? Grace. Because of his what? Mercy. Hey, it covers us. And that's because we know that we are what? His servants. His servants. I pray we receive something in this lesson. I pray it have been a help. Seriously, how many have had a depression spirit? Be real. Anybody have had a depression spirit? How do it feel? Just as we close it now, how do it feel? Huh? Sad and lonely. You know, what was that? I remember